so much. It was actually when I found out that Marta nominated me that I actually started taking this seriously. When a few folks from Lupe Votes reached out to me and let me know that a few people in my community had nominated me, I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it. It wasn't like, oh my God, is this for real? It was like, okay, you know, it's a thing. It's like something that my community is doing, and I want to rally behind it, and it's a great initiative. But it took about a day or two to finally realize what this meant. And in this process, in the past few weeks, I've realized that's voter suppression in action, where ourselves here in the community, we don't see ourselves as our own representation. We think that our representation looks different. But Marta made me see that. She changed my perspective. She made me change my mind. And in this process, preparing to run for office, preparing to file, even to file, which is the very first step, has been a challenge. But it has been one that we have overcome. That's why we're here. That's why you all are here, because we were able to get everything done. We were able to get things in order. We were able to organize. And you know what? It's because that's what we've been doing all along. This is not new. This is not new work.
Yeah.
This is just work that is being respected and acknowledged for the impact that it could have. The way that we could change the lives of so many people is already happening. This is how it's done. I got into the story of the nomination, but I did want to introduce myself. So I do see many, many familiar faces here, but I also see some faces that are not so familiar. So I'm gonna say hi to that table over there. Hey y'all, thanks for joining us. And it means so much to me that y'all are here. I know that when I stand up and do this again in front of hundreds and thousands of people, I'm not gonna be afraid because y'all are here with me right now. And that's been the case every step of the way. It wasn't easy to say yes. It wasn't easy to have confidence. It wasn't easy to believe that I could do this, but now I have no doubt. And for those who, thank you, Sunday. For those of you who don't know me, I am a South Texas native. I have a story similar to so many in South Texas. I come from a huge family. It's not just big, it's huge. And we're immigrants, we're farm workers, we're entrepreneurs. And it has been such a beautiful life. Growing here on the frontera, having a bicultural identity, and learning what it means to be Mexican-American and also American, which was such a unique experience for me that I didn't realize that here on the frontera, we have such a beautiful, beautiful experience of life that so many others don't even know and can't even imagine. And you know what others do? They imagine what life is for us, and then they write our stories. And I've noticed that over the past few years, and through the work with my community members, through Lupe, through NLC, New Leaders Council, South Texas Frontera Chapter, whoop whoop, shout out to them, us, at the Pulga, through other projects that I've worked on, through Trucha, and Hustle and Socialize, which is a women's entrepreneurship conference I started with my best friend, who's from right here as well. And it's through all that work that I've realized that what we're gonna continue to do is all that organizing, but with greater impact. And I guess it feels, in a sense, like I'm reconnecting with my childhood. Like I'm reconnecting with who I was when I was younger. Reconnecting with the dreams that I had when I was in school, that I can run for office, that I can represent my community. And what was most beautiful about this experience is that my community asked me and reminded me of that dream, and reminded me that even though along the way my dreams have been kind of shattered by the leadership that we do have right now, by people who I trusted that ultimately lied to us, I know that this is how we make that change. And taking a few steps back about reconnecting with my childhood, it's seeing my family here and thinking back to the memories that we've shared. all the times that we came together, all the times that we've had parties and barbecues. We try to have small barbecues, but then it's like 100 people. So we stopped trying to have small barbecues. And it's just a reminder. We've already done this work. We've already been doing this work. And throughout my childhood, since I was basically 7 years old, that's when my parents started Pulga los Portales. And since then, it's funny because people have been saying like, oh, your life is about to get so public. Everyone's about to know about you. Everyone's about to know about your business and your family. And it's so funny because since I was 7 years old, basically my life has been public. My family has gone out into the community, has done outreach and called others and said, you know what, maybe you can't get a job somewhere because you don't have some form of documentation or other, but here, there's opportunity. Here at the Pulga, you could create generational wealth. You could create opportunities for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren. And it's so funny really, because there is this myth in South Texas, right? That you have to leave to become someone, that you have to leave to become successful. You have to leave to create change. And for a little while, I thought that was the case. But in my journey, I went to school in New York City after my high school years. I went to Columbia University, and I spent a few years in New York. But I was never able to fully leave. I always had like one foot here and one foot there. And finally, when I decided to come back, it was because I realized that the only way that we could actually change the world is if we change our own world. We turn around and we see the little corner of the world that we live in, and that's where we start making the change. Another big thing, a big part of my story that I want to share with everyone here, and because it's so intimate to me, and it's not so private actually. If you all follow me on social media or know anything about my story, I really do share a lot about my mom. And my mom has played such a pivotal role, not only for giving me life, but also for setting such an amazing, beautiful example of how to live your life to the fullest. So when I was a sophomore in college, this was in 2010, I was 19, my mom was 46. She took her last breath after being sick with multiple sclerosis for 15 years. This was something else that I didn't realize was hard. I didn't realize that my family had a particularly challenging experience at home because my mom had been terminally ill since I was 4 years old. So I didn't know the difference. But when she passed away, and I saw my family, and I saw my community turn to each other. And while it felt like the world was falling apart, those around me kept it all together for me. And it became very clear to me, it became so clear to me that the way to honor life, the way to honor the legacy of those who have come before us, to honor all the sacrifices that have been made for us to have the lives that we do, is to work together for a better future. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. But it seems like it is. It seems like it's really challenging because we have so many things that we have to work against. In this process for filing, I've learned so much already in the past few weeks, and Dani said it was 6 weeks ago that they launched the campaign. It has been about 2 or 3 weeks that we've been organizing to file. And in that process already, I cannot wait to be screaming from the hilltops, any mic that they give me, to talk about the voter suppression in action from day one, from the moment that we even have someone thinking about running for office, or that there's a new chair, right? We don't have an incumbent coming. The moment that happens, it's a mad scramble. And I appreciate Lupe, and I appreciate Lupe Vote so much for reminding me what democracy looks like. That's also another reason why I'm doing this, because I do feel like this is true democracy. Somewhere along the way, I believe that it was all just a game. I believe that it was just a facade. I believe that you could create change with just money. But that's not the case. Because that's what I saw. But now I know better. I know better. I know because I've worked with my family, I've worked with my community, and this is what happens. This is what happens when you do that. When you turn around and you choose to work with those that you love, instead of trying to run away because you think that there's something better further up north. But those are just a few points that I wanted to share with y'all. Something else I want to jump into is definitely the platform. It's definitely the issues that we're going to be prioritizing as we spread the message of this campaign, as we spread the message of Lupe Votes, of all the efforts that our community is putting into action so that we could have better representation. Number one, Medicare for all. Well, yes, definitely. I want everyone to get so loud about that. Well, it can be confusing sometimes that people deserve certain things to have a dignified life, and where that starts is Medicare for all. Everyone deserves healthcare. No one needs to be leaving home, whether it's to Mexico or to Houston, to get access to doctors. We're missing the infrastructure. We're missing so much infrastructure so that this could be possible. Sure, people are gonna say, oh, that's a pipe dream, Medicare for all, it's never gonna happen. Where we start is realizing the things we're missing and start asking for those things and start organizing for those things so that when we say we deserve Medicare for all, it is possible. It is already in place, the infrastructure, so we say, hey, we know what we need for ourselves. Second issue, for sure, also for a dignified life, is a livable wage. $15 an hour is not enough, but we're gonna start screaming for that so that we can get somewhere. Expecting people to live a life getting paid $7.25 an hour is ridiculous. It's exploitation, flat out. And so, no more of that. And there's other campaigns happening throughout South Texas that I'm so excited about, and I'm so excited to work with them, and I'm so excited to build coalition around this because I know this change is gonna happen. And even before we get to Congress, I'm confident that that change is gonna happen. So I hope everyone gets rowdy every time people say, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I wanna say, the first person who I talked to about this was my dad. Because I told him, Dad, this is what I'm gonna be fighting for. And we're either gonna fight together or you're gonna fight against me. He was like, let's fight together. So if anyone needs to have a conversation about how businesses could do that, how business owners could transition their business models to be more sustainable for everyone, the owners and the employees, you could ask them to call me, because we're already figuring it out, and it could happen. Another issue is access to college. Free college and free trade school. Not just college, trade school is so important because everyone deserves multiple options. Everyone deserves something that is designed with their unique needs in mind. Not a single person has the same experience growing up. Not the same person no two people have the same interests, talents, skills, desires. So we should honor that. That's how we allow our community and our border region to become the most vibrant it possibly could be. Another issue, which is one of my favorites because I'm so passionate about it and I felt like it's been a personal fight in a sense, and that's embracing the border. Embracing the border with love and embracing it to where we could, again, allow for a fusion of ideas and for people to come together for good things, not for bad things. So there have been a lot of talking points about our home, about our region, that are divisive, that tear us apart. And I'm sick of that. I'm so sick and tired of it, and I don't want to fight with anyone. I want to work with them. I want to collaborate. I want to discover new ways that we could embrace our uniqueness, our intelligence, our talent, our creativity, and our fun. We have so much fun if we, I don't know, I think it's the resiliency. I think it's the resiliency of our community, overcoming everything that we have to face and having fun with it a little bit by creating a funny meme here and there. And yeah, I go back and I think about Los Portales every time. I think about the people who I've had the pleasure and the honor of living my life with. And so I've basically been able to see families and business owners grow and expand over the past 25 years. That's practically my whole life. And I know that we deserve more, and we deserve better. And just every step of this way, I'm gonna be fighting for that. I don't wanna be fighting against people specifically. I wanna convince others that That's not the way to do beautiful work together. And that's not what South Texas needs. But against everything that we have against us, that's what I'm gonna be fighting against. And I'm so excited to ask you and invite you to fight with me so that we can make sure that this happens, so that Lupe Vote's work isn't done in vain, so that we could actually create a pipeline, a leadership pipeline that comes from the community to all offices of government. Another reason why I did this is because I thought about my cousins. I thought about my niece. I thought about the little girls and the little boys who are gonna see me and say, wow, a girl from the Pulga really has the audacity to go against all these corporations, against all these head honchos, all the politiqueros. And you know what? Yes. And I remember I told Marta, soy atrevida. Y vamos arrasando. Well, thank you so much. Those are a few words that I wanted to share and a little bit about my story. I trailed off a little bit, but I would love to keep sharing more about my experience, more about my community, more about the beautiful people I've been able to work with, and more about the people that I'm looking forward to working with, which of course are all of you here. And I hope I get to meet all the folks in your life that you care about, because that's what we have to do right now. Right now is reaching out to everyone in South Texas, letting them know that this is happening. It's not just a campaign, this is a movement. And you know, we're gonna get to Congress, we're gonna get to DC, and we're gonna do it together.